better than you.
And both Gavin Agnew and Perry Stargell both handled themselves very well, despite what has to be a very disappointing loss for Agnew.
All right, we move on here. Going to be in the featherweight division. Stone Beverly making his way to the cage here, representing Viper Pit. You see his brother Ken Beverly, Bellator MMA veteran. Stone, still just 18 years old, already his 8th fight this year, 8th amateur fight.
That's one of the more
5-2.
amazing starts to a career that I've seen. His brother had a similar start to his career.
Yeah, they like to be active fighters, and we've already seen Stone compete at Hardrock MMA 90 earlier this year, pick up a submission win over Joel Bennett. Then we saw him pick up a couple more wins, including the Warrior FC bantamweight title, and then coming in actually off of a loss against Alex Lewis at an event back in October. And one of the other things I want to mention, Stone has fought from 135 to 155, but he probably should be a 135er, to be honest with you. Ethan McGee, and you see the reach there on the tail of the tape.
That's what stands out to me.
74 inches.
That's a big time for the 145-pound division. That's a significant reach.
Yeah.
Even more so if you go down to 135.
I mean, honestly, the guy, he's fought at 135 and looked great at 135. He fought at 135 back at Hardrock 90 earlier this year, but he comes in taking on Ethan McGee, a guy who took 2 years off, came back earlier this year and is 2-0. Since then, 9-8 overall now.
Very exciting fighter in Ethan McGee.
TKO win over DJ Smith at Hardrock 91, and then a submission over Alvin Miller at Hardrock 92. And the guy who's been fighting since 2011 is when he made his debut. He's got 7 submission wins and 1 TKO win, which he got earlier this year. Just really a interesting character, guy who really talented fighter. And now I think in almost his second part of his amateur career is really starting to kind of put it all together. He's looked fantastic, but standing across him is a guy with all the potential in the world. And this is a tough fight and I think a pinnacle turning point for both guys. Probably the toughest fight that Stone Beverly's had and the toughest fight that Ethan McGee has had, and his second in his comeback, when he came back this year.
Keep in mind, Ethan McGee, this is the second part of his amateur career, but he's only 24 years old.
Yeah, still a young guy.
Yeah, very much so in this game where you can fight. He can have many years ahead of him. I like this tail of the tape, potentially a style. Very excited about this fight. Very stylistically, you've got the taller guy with the bigger reach in Stone Beverly, and the guy with the more experience, the older guy, maybe a little bit a spark plug. I describe him as a lot of energy despite being 5'8".
Fantastic ground game as well from Ethan McGee. I mean, if you've never seen him fight before, he has an exciting style.
Experience is very valuable when it comes to cage fighting, and you got to give the edge to Ethan McGee and the number of fights he has inside the cage.
Yeah, 17 amateur fights already against. I mean, Stone Beverly was 12 or 13 years old when Ethan McGee started fighting. Nice leg kick there from Ethan McGee. Stone Beverly was doing kids grappling and
on Hardrock cards.
On Hardrock cards when Ethan McGee started fighting.
Wow.
Spinning back fist there attempt from Stone Beverly.
Out of the gate, you got to...
McGee picks up the leg, got the takedown there. Beverly has control of his neck. But
using
McGee,
the cage.
See those long legs to walk off the cage and get
right back
to
his
feet.
legs. What athleticism.
Nice knee to the body there from Ethan McGee. Stone just throwing bombs in the clinch.
Wow.
He just still
what a start to the fight.
Continuing to move forward.
Oh!
Some big shots there
and
from
Stone
Ethan
Beverly
McGee.
took it like a champ, hanging in there.
Ethan McGee with a big shot to the ground. This had the makings of fight of the night, and already a minute into the fight, I think that these guys are looking for that trophy. These are two guys that will go at this pace for the entire 9-minute fight.
That's one of the things I was going to mention about Stone Beverly is he always comes in with great conditioning. Donald Neese and his entire crew are known for
He's trying to take the back of Stone Beverly, and Stone just keeps rolling through. McGee now does have the back, has both hooks in. This is where in MMA it's kind of tough with just pure jiu-jitsu. You don't have the gloves. So,
what I do, it's not quite.
Yeah.
You don't have to account for the whole punch straight to the face.
Yeah. And Stone Beverly trying to turn his way out. At least McGee doesn't have his back anymore, but now
He's
McGee
trying to position for that. He's got the Kimura grip and trying to go for the arm bar, trying to get that arm out.
Stone strong, unable to.
Very fluid movement from Ethan McGee, straight to his back again.
Yeah, he's a guy that can transition from point A to point B to point C seamlessly. And now you see him again on the back of Stone Beverly. Doesn't even have full hooks in, but looking to try to finish this rear naked choke. I can't see from our vantage point, but it looks like this might be pretty tight.
Now, he doesn't have exactly the normal approach. He doesn't have both hooks in from having his back. So I don't know that he will be able to get this choke.
Yeah, this is a
Stone
tough
has his
position
thumbs
to try to
up.
finish.
He's saying, I'm okay. What a tough fighter is Stone Cold Beverly.
15 seconds left to go here in round number 1. See if Stone can survive this first round.
Wow.
He's out of that choke attempt.
What
but
an impressive recovery for Stone Beverly. You got to say the first round.
Looking for that up kick. McGee still all over him.
Wow.
What a round.
What a round. You got to say Ethan McGee with the first round, right? He landed some big blows to the head of Stone Beverly. He controlled the fight for the most part, taking the back of Beverly many times. In my opinion, Ethan McGee wins that first round, but you can't ask for a better round from 145-pounders at the amateur level than these two guys.
Yeah, I mean, two super talented guys, but also now two. I mean, Stone Beverly, again, they're still less than a year into his career, but now already has 7 fights under his belt. It's crazy.
He's a veteran.
It's like you wake up one day and it's like, man, this guy already has 7 fights under his belt. He's fighting in, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, all over the place, just like his older brother Ken Beverly has been doing.
I was going to say, just a few years ago, the exact same thing was being said about his brother. And all of a sudden, he's a savvy veteran, and now we're turning around, and Stone is too.
And now Ken is, the savvy veteran. I think he's 21 or 20
yes,
years old.
Yes.
Can finally buy a beer legally.
How long can they go? I mean, they're going to fight into their late 30s? I mean, that's insane to get started
both,
like this
yeah,
early.
And they both sort of fight, it's not like they both fight with an aggressive style. So you're going to take one to give one. So you got to wonder. I mean, they're both young at this point, so they're going to bounce back and be able to fight 8 times in 1 year, but you got to wonder how long that can go at that pace.
Sure.
That's a lot of fights.
I love that Stone continues to fight at such a intense clip. Despite a couple losses, he's like, I'm going to keep learning. I'm getting more in-cage experience.
Round number 2 here. Ethan McGee and Stone Beverly. Another spinning back fist attempt here.
Beverly with the good head movement from the standing. Not quite as active head movement as he had early in the first round. Is that a sign of him being a little bit fatigued?
Well, you see the hands dropping here from Stone Beverly, which is he's a little bit more swag than Ken. Ken's more of a kind of a, I don't want to say vanilla, but he's not going to be dropping his hands in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
Nice kick there from Ethan McGee, and Stone trying to
McGee
get the
with
takedown.
very comfortable with the sprawl. Once again takes the back of Stone Beverly.
And he just reminds me of like a, I'm not sure exactly how to say it, but he's a guy who just so smooth on the ground. And just basically you saw him attempt to try to jump on the back of Stone. Just kind of out of nowhere. Stone in that scramble did a good job there. I mean, Ethan McGee is a guy who loves scrambles, and a lot of times scrambles are those 50-50 positions, and you see Stone was trying to pull guard and may look for that guillotine.
Stone gets some elbows to the back and the side of Ethan McGee.
Yeah, and those are illegal. He's got to watch that he doesn't go straight down, but McGee now looking to try to slam him. Gets him to the ground.
Doesn't have the full guard, won't be able to execute the guillotine from that position.
Yeah, and that's the big thing for McGee was that when he got to the ground, to make sure that he wasn't in the guard of Stone Beverly. That's where you get finished in that guillotine. Now peeled his head out, did Ethan McGee.
It's another thing in jiu-jitsu you don't see as much. It's just the straight forearm straight into your neck. Doesn't look like that's very pleasant.
And Stone Beverly able to regain guard now, looking to try to swing for an armbar. McGee, the veteran, stacking in that position, doing a good job, comfortable here. Needs to find just a small opening, maybe try to pull that right arm out.
Oh, and the slam right onto the neck of Stone Beverly.
But Stone just doesn't let go of that arm. You see McGee actually has his arm actually clamped on his right arm, was clamped on his left bicep. And it's going to be really tough to try to finish that from that position.
Stone is waiting for a opportunity.
Now has his legs crossed.
To where he can use momentum and throw Ethan McGee down and execute potentially an armbar.
McGee pulls his arm out. You see getting that right arm out. Now
just
passing the side control
experience.
Here.
You can just tell Ethan is very familiar with these type of scrambles.
And both rounds you saw Ethan McGee end on top, end throwing strikes, and I think that leaves a good impression in the minds of the judges. And you know, I think he's up 2 rounds to none here.
And this is amateur MMA, David. If you compare this versus many of the fights we'd see in the sport from 10 or 15 years ago even, the level of acumen within the jiu-jitsu game and everything that you see from both of these fighters is just very advanced.
And the thing I keep going back to is they both are from very well-respected gyms. Ethan McGee representing Vision MMA, Stone Beverly representing Viper Pit, which is a smaller gym out of Hazard, Kentucky, but they're producing really, really talented fighters. I mean, he's got multiple pros that he's working with. Donald Neese, Lee Spurgeon. He's got his brother Ken Beverly, also Jared Short, the #1 ranked 185-pounder in Kentucky, amateur. So it's not like, you know, they're definitely a smaller gym in a small town, but he's got a lot of talented fighters to work with. Great couple of rounds here, and I think if you're Stone Beverly's corner, you probably tell him you got to finish, and I think if you're in Ethan McGee's corner, you're saying much of the same. You know, if the finish is there, look for it, but, you know.
It may be difficult to finish Ethan McGee in a submission. It appears to me that the level of experience Ethan has in the grappling game is the deciding factor thus far.
Doesn't mean that Stone Beverly's not going to try, though.
Sure.
Nice leg kick there. And that looked like it wobbled Stone a little bit more than.
Stone swinging for the fences early.
Yeah, and you heard that thudding leg kick there from Stone Beverly.
Tried the spinning back fist.
This has been the best fight tonight so far.
Oh, yeah.
Another nice leg kick.
Oh, wow.
Spinning back fist from Stone Beverly.
If I'm Stone, I'm trying to utilize my reach advantage and turn this into more of a boxing match.
Yeah, maybe even throw a head kick.
Sure.
Yeah, and you see Stone, the issue there was he backed straight up and didn't back up at an angle. That's how Ethan McGee was able to get that clinch up against the cage, get right back where he wanted to be in the grappling realm against Stone Beverly. Stone is a good grappler himself, but, I mean, Ethan McGee just has that experience in the cage, that MMA grappling experience edge. Of course, the 7 submission wins, I think, tell the tale of Ethan McGee's amateur career thus far.
Is Stone able to?
Ethan McGee going to end up on top, doing a good job there. His corner really liked that. See Stone now was looking for the triangle.
Trying an arm
Ethan McGee
bar.
just going to pass here to side control. A couple of hammer fists from Ethan McGee, and I think this is where the experience advantage on the ground really starts to show. You see You see Ethan McGee really just staying comfortable on top, and Stone just trying to find some opening, some seam to do something, but unable to do anything. Ethan McGee looks great here on top. But this is also showing, I mean, Stone Beverly is a super talented fighter. Both of these guys are super talented. This is a very, very tough opponent for
Sure,
Stone Beverly in
certainly.
his first year as an amateur fighter against a veteran like Ethan McGee. Nice shot to the body there on the ground, and a couple of hammer fists from Ethan McGee.
Stone has to try to work some magic in this last 30 seconds if he wants a chance at even winning the round. Got to be careful.
Another couple of shots. You see the nice sprawl, nice base there from Ethan McGee. Under 10 seconds left to go. Looks like he's going to end this round, third round in a row that he's going to end on top.
Nothing to be ashamed of for Stone Beverly.
Good fight there between those two guys. Just heard the corner of Ethan McGee say that is by far the best we've ever seen you fight. It's a guy that, you know, that's his 18th fight.
At the age of 24, not a bad time to be rounded into shape.
And now coming back, you know, potentially 3-0 in his sort of quasi comeback here in 2017, and maybe a jump into the pro ranks might be in the cards for one Ethan McGee. Do have to agree, I've seen a lot of Ethan's fights, and that looked, I mean, he just looked so technical in that fight.
We go to the judges' scorecards. All three judges score the lap 30-27 for the winner,
Ethan McGee moving up to 10-8 on his career, and now 3-0 in 2017.
Good sportsmanship there. Stone Beverly, 18 years old. Third loss of his career. He's now 5-3. Plenty of room for improvement.
I mean, if that's you win 5 fights your first year as an amateur and take 8, and, you know, get.
I don't think he can do any before the end of the year, can he?
We'll see. I mean, might see him fighting in the parking lot after the show, but yeah, those.